going to go out on a limb here and make an assessment that a lot of people that I encounter, at least half, don't want to give me work or don't want to participate in allowing me to work with them to make money and stuff like that, because I think they judge me. I think as an artist and someone that's has a perception of detail, I find that a lot of people will accept me right away, but then I'm going to say that they assume that I'm some kind of addict, or they get the idea that I'm dysfunctional or something like that. And, they drop out for many reasons. I mean, it can even be for, you never know what people are about, but a lot of these people will agree to work with me or get work from me, and then I'll show up on the day that they specify, or the week that they specify. They're like, oh, well, things are tight. And I think it's bullshit. I think that I'm being judged as a flunky, okay, because there's people in my family that have told me that too. So I think that, I don't think you have financial problems. I think that you feel that I don't deserve support because, my labor is not important to you, because your opinion of how I live my life or what I do is attached to people that are basically irresponsible or addicts to the point where they've ruined things for other people, And I'm going to be 50 real quick. And, I have a lot of artwork. I'm sterile. And I see that the world for your kids is really crappy. You not only complain about your kids, but you complain about the world that exists around you. And then yet you show me your face in real time that really you're the problem because of your judgment and your assumptions about people. And you've been totally wrong about me. And the stigma of starving artists does definitely exist. Is it going to get me down? Well, let's think. I first went out on my own pretty much when I was about 19, actually earlier. And I've been a door-to-door salesman. I've sat with all kinds of people, currently Jewish and Palestinian people. I've always felt excluded from a certain point, just as any American would, being around another culture that speaks another language, that, they choose to speak their own language around you and then shortchange you and then overpay their own people and give them opportunity because they're like that, and then they shit on other people. And in these times, to find that America is imploding, it's not. We're not going anywhere like that. And the fact that there's so many people in America that are hating on America, I understand that your mind is inept, you're uneducated, you lack experience. And for me, I have to survive as an artist by taking into consideration what other people feel and how their emotions are based and what their perception and intentions are in life, and what really inspires them for me to be a successful artist and get praise, kudos, or appreciation or complimented for not only my skill but for my creativity and my ideas. So I've sat with black, white, brown, yellow, green people, males, females, all kinds of genders, all kinds of lifestyles, all kinds of preferences of lifestyle and sexuality. I've had gay people hire me and then find out that I'm not gay and then stop paying me. Okay? All this is real. So I have a really, really deep, diversified experience on knowing what kind of cultures exist, how they treat their people on the outside, what the people on the outside see as an illusion that they think about them, good or bad, and then how they actually function and treat people inside their homes. Because I've muralized people's homes, I've done personal paintings for people, I've been in people's offices and shops and in their properties more than a lot of other people, because as an artist, I've painted inside of churches, and I've had situations go good and bad with that. So, my opinion is based on experience. And I think that I have a lot more experiences than a lot of people. And the fact that I haven't had a TV of my own since 1997 allows me to draw really a lot of detail and information from my experiences rather than being shown something that's coupled with entertainment or appeasement. So I'm going to accept it if it's good, and I'm going to try to dismiss it if it's bad. And that's at the core, okay, because I don't have a lot of the influence. And I take away things, and I have a delayed reaction in response to some things, and I have triggers of other things. And this is all based on the effects that I get from the outside world. So some of these paintings that you see behind you, I've had in storage for over 10 years because of my own trials and tribulations, which I don't want to go into detail. But they're like that because of the dysfunctional world that was created around me and not maintained. And it was functionable and functioning at one point. Especially like as an American, I've been to Brazil, I've been to the Bahamas, I've been up and down the East Coast, not too far west yet, but, you know, I have a good perspective. You know, I've been homeless. I've been in a house with 13 doors and its own swimming pool on a canal. Okay. And, you know, I've been around people that abuse substance to the point of literally killing themselves. And I've been around people that are so religious that they can't even open the door to, you know, to something that would contrast their own beliefs that's causing the dysfunction. You know, and like in one perspective, the addict people that push the limit, you know, in ignorance there's bliss, and also in the other perspective, in that bliss there's ignorance. So like I've gotten to take on all this information, so I know that there's a lot more people that are worse off than me. I'm not worse. I've been a victim. I've been victimized. I don't victimize people. And, you know, basically, if anything, a lot of people think that I victimize myself by not adhering. But, you know, I have a different path in life. And, you know, my reality and my perception and my energies supersedes a lot of what's going on because it's a very shallow orientated intent that a lot of people have for the world, you know, and it's so shallow that it even demeans the basic functions of like having a safe place to lay your head at night and get a good night's rest. You know, having the ability to work with others to get the things that they do that in exchange for what you do. So this way we could have food and water and sustenance, you know, and all these things. And there's so much of a hypocrisy going on, you know, and because I've been a victim and I've been victimized by this same world that, you know, is crying for attention in so many different facets that, you know, it's become a selfish, indulgent playground for pops and paupers. I mean, it's just like, what builds your empire? You know, at the end of the day, it's people. And if we don't have people, we don't have nothing. And the more we dismiss people for the idea of things, the less the world is going to continue to grow in a good way. And I don't have the base and the family. I like to think that my family is a family of artists, but there's very few artists that I feel that could gather with me with this level of experience and depth of perception, you know, with output to prove. Okay, you know. So, because I've been weathering the storms, and you know, some people I invite to try and see if they could be on that same wavelength, and it's, you know, a lot of them do very well, but at the end of the day, the amount of support is like cutting off your nose to spite your face. It goes with that cliche. So, you know, what do you want? Like, do you want immortality? Do you just want riches? Do you want self-gratification over and over? I mean, that's what drugs is for, really. And cannabis is a medicine, and a lot of people, it can be used as a drug, of course. Alcohol, the same thing. Wine, the same thing. A glass of wine may be good for your body, but the person that drinks a gallon of wine and becomes unruly and unkept, but yet wine is still there. So, like, I'll work till I drop, and then I'll pass out, and then my days are not like Monday through Friday, really. And for the people that don't want me to work on Sunday, it's just crazy. So, like, my dreams lately are really heavy because if I'm allowed to smoke weed that you could grow from a seed, what it does for me is it allows me to have a little bit of a focus and clarity in my mind, because I can make sense of I think Joe Rogan said, of all the like complications and paranoia. That's really not paranoia. It's a sense of awareness. And for you to paint a picture, you have to put in a couple different perspectives and make that happen. So, and employ them at the same time. So if I'm not smoking when intermittently at least, I start having bad dreams, or I wake up from those dreams that are bad, really tired and upset, or things keep popping into my head because every day there's a reminder. And I know this is true for everybody else too, because if you live in a house with a rapist that raped you and nobody else is saying anything about it, and you're stuck living in that house and the yard has a big fence around it and you could never get out, how are you going to feel when you have to go into that house, even for food, even for shelter? And, that's become our nations, our towns, our countries, even our homes in a lot of places. So I think that, artists, as much as we benefit from all the great information, whether it's good or bad, I think that, artists are the stereotype of starving artists. Artists have been victimized. And look at all the things of design and conception from free will. Necessity is the mother of invention, or whatever. Without art and artists, you would have nothing. You would be nothing. And at the end of the day, maybe, just maybe, that's what you deserve. So I'm trying to sell my painting, and I would like somebody to buy it. And the painting's pissing. Some people get pissed off. Some people, they like it. But at the end of the day, I painted it because I don't want to have an opinion in politics, because it's way beyond me, and it's at these base of these people's families. It's irrelevant, because those people are not even alive that started these problems. But, like Courier and Ives, I want to make a pictorial version of what's going on, because I do think it's important as a record. And, paintings and artwork make a person immortal, and they tell a story, and they allow history to be, acknowledged for what it is and how it is. And there are a lot of artists out there that are real good, and a lot of artists that have turned to digital mediums, and that's cool too. But at the end of the day, when the electric goes off, all that stuff is gone, and you've left the iron on the board. You've burned a hole in the soul of creativity. Not the people that are digital artists, but the societies that exist out there in selfishness have burned a hole in our humanity. And I feel like a lot of times I'm at the forefront of that, because I don't ask for anything other than to be valued and be compensated for the time and effort that I put in life. And I do that on my own accord and with my own initiative, because I'm compelled to do that. I don't like work because I want to purchase something, which I'm not condemning those people, because there's a lot of innocent people that are just, following a path. We can't call all of them sheep, but, I can't help what I do. But to be condemned for it and to be cut down for it when I know that what I do is necessary, and through hundreds and hundreds of years of history, even from cave paintings, you people appreciate all that stuff, but yet you shit on us. And just like the Masonic Society, I believe that businessmen took over that. The Masons wouldn't be anything without artists. The Illuminati and all these pillar communities, even the Skull and Crossbones, you wouldn't be fucking shit without artists. And the fact that I'm made to pay and that I am disengaged from my own people and family because I really have none, and I'm mostly like a loner here at a point, from a point, I think that, everybody wants to talk about what they deserve, what they have a right to, what their entitlements are, what was made for them that's not there. Well, I just say you owe me, motherfuckers, okay? Because I'm not going to stop being who I am just because you disapprove of it. And if you given me a job, it doesn't mean you made me. I've had people do that to me too. Like, oh, if it wasn't for me, I learned these skills on my own to cope, and because the universe had given me a way. And here, you're just showing me the shit of it all. And I think that, this is a prime example is here. A prime example is in my newest painting. And I think that, at the end of the day, you guys are just going to keep fighting and killing each other without even knowing why in the end, because you have support from groups of people that choose to support you that don't know why, and then you're not concerned with your own reputation. None of these groups are concerned with their reputation because they don't care what the rest of the world thinks at a certain point. And, the fact that I've been, like I said, I've been treated like shit by both sides. So, why are things the way they are now? When you get ripped off for your labor and your ideas, and your commitment, it's not honored or respected. You tend to have that imposing on your threads of your being. And it breaks my heart. It really does. And I find value in a very small community of diversified groups that isn't together, so to speak. There's very small pockets of people. And I hope that you can make sense of it in the end and start respecting the world around you for what you live in. And realize that, people need help. Okay, and I'm blessed with skill and I'm blessed with abilities, but it bleeds me out because I work twice as much. I've committed myself twice as much than other people, and I haven't been not only rewarded for it, but I haven't been respected for it. So it doesn't really matter to me what happens to the outside world. For the people that have their hands directly in it and influence the masses to take their sides on their issues, because it's a circumstance that you're in. It is truly like a Monopoly game, being in the right place at the right time. That's how you got in those positions. There's a lot of kingdoms, and civilizations that exist because their communities conquered another community, raped and pillaged and destroyed that community, and took all their records, took all their valuables, took the essence of what has allowed that life to flourish, and then you've manipulated it. And then now your kids don't know this, and they come into it. And, they're sitting in the seats because, the old fucks that did it and started it are dead. So, and the kids that are in it are controlling it like, hey, when I came into it, this was my father's and then you took this. Yeah, but your father did take it for someplace else. Or it was given to your father and, he didn't respect it because he was greedy or he had too much lust or he was too hateful, or he honored the wrong things out of selfishness and ignorance. So now, who's in control and why is the situation. And I'm 50. I'm going to be 50 real quick. And I'm glad I got to this point, okay? Because it could never be changed on the knowledge I know. My perception can never be changed. But I can acknowledge things. And I'm looking to bow out at a point. I'm looking to get paid off so I could shut the fuck up and just let be what is. And, honestly, for all the people and groups out there that are in power, so to speak, you know, it's time that you start acknowledging people like me, because I'm acknowledging you more, because I cannot continue to give to the little people, so to speak, to the ground level people and families that are working too much more, because it's a redundant situation that you've created that is a failing situation, uh, between the economy and the supply and the demand and the wants and the needs and the conditioned and inflicted habits and ways that people have that they either can't see or they can't step away from because there's other factors that anchor them there. So, you know, I just want to do what I want to do at this point. And I know that, I like to make art, and I like to have the ability to act on my inspiration, because I've already given my body, I've already given too much of my mind, I've already given too much of my worth to try and endure and play the game for everybody else's approval as an equal, to respect them by not capitalizing on some of the abilities I have had for my whole life earlier in life, because I could have chose sides and bowed out, but none of the sides were good enough. And now I'm just like, I'm left in the middle, and I could tell you the painting that I want to close out with. I'm just gonna leave it at this. You got a job to do.